Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we're going to take a look starting with number 10, which I just took a picture of. At least I thought I did. There it is. All right. So I'm going to try to draw this. I don't have a good stylus. So, so I have to use my finger.
Okay.
All right. So here's number 10. And it is in parentheses x squared plus 2x, and all that is squared, minus 11 times the exact same parentheses. And it's the fact that the parentheses match is something we're going to take advantage of. Plus
Okay.
25 equals, and I'm going to turn off the
Is that
camera.
24? 24
Yeah,
or
you're right,
25?
24. I did say 24. And actually, let me turn my video back on. I'm going to close or minimize that. All right, equals 0.
Okay.
Okay, so we want to solve this, but
Okay.
I'm sorry, my boss just texted me or messaged me.
That's okay.
Let me reply to that real quick.
Sure.
Reply. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop doing the share for. No, here I am. Hold on. Not yet. In a Zoom meeting with a student. I will email him ASAP. Okay. She never told me to email the student. I got a student from one of my previous classes that is has questions about their grades, so I'm kind of balancing that. Okay. So the thing about this problem is the parentheses are exactly the same. And that's something you can take advantage of. I'm going to say the following statement. It's probably something I said in one of the videos. But if an expression, let me unbold this. If an expression is repeated throughout an equation, you can temporarily replace it with a single letter of your choice.
I just watched that. They like a U.
Exactly. And there's no particular reason why they choose the letter U.
Right.
The only letter I can't pick is X because it's already in play.
Right.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to highlight the repeated parts.
Okay.
And then I'm going to declare we're going to let that part that's repeated equal, I'm going to use the letter U, but it doesn't matter. Just can't use X again. And
Okay.
so everything that's highlighted in yellow is going to become a U.
Okay.
I'm going to do one more thing real quick. I'm going to expand these to include the parentheses.
Okay.
It's really not necessary, but I did that because I'm sorry, I'm getting an echo reverb because I hear my voice coming back over.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if there's anything we can do to fix that. But what was I saying? Oh, everything in yellow
Uh-huh.
is going to disappear and become a U.
Okay.
So in the top equation, you see all the part that's not highlighted in yellow?
Yes.
It stays the same. So the square stays the same. The minus 11 stays the same. The plus 24 stays the same. The equal 0 stays the same. But
Okay.
everything that's highlighted in yellow becomes the
Okay.
letter U.
Okay.
What this does is it changes it from a messy equation to
Mm-hmm.
just a quadratic equation, like you did back in 1.5.
Okay.
Now, not all substitutions turn it into a quadratic equation, but in this section, it does.
Okay.
So now that we've made the problem look a little bit more manageable,
Mm-hmm.
now we just have to solve this equation. If I can get it to add a page. So now we just solve u squared minus 11u plus 24 equals 0.
Okay.
Using the technique of your choice. Quadratic formula, factoring
Factoring,
are your two best options. I'm going to solve
Yeah.
this by factoring.
Okay.
I would need two numbers that add to give negative 11
8, 3.
and multiply to give positive 24. So they'll both have to be negative.
Okay. Got that.
Put each factor equal to 0. This is assuming that you're familiar with the process that I'm doing right now.
Yes.
Solve to get u equals 8, u equals 3.
Okay.
And normally this would be the end
Right.
because it says u equals.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't start with u.
Right.
We started with x. We need to know what x equals, not u equals. So the substitution we made turned it into a problem that we could solve easily. But
Okay.
at this point, once it says u equals, change the u back to what it represents.
Okay.
Let me widen this text box. In this case, u is equal to x squared plus 2x. And when I'm typing exponents, I can't type them in the air. So I type this little caret symbol to mean that the 2 is up in the air. So that means x squared plus 2x. So we're going to take these two equations down here that I'm about to put in a red box. And we're going to write them again, but instead of writing u, we're going to write x squared plus 2x.
Okay.
All right. Come on. Okay, so x squared plus 2x. I believe the first one said equals 8. And x squared plus 2x, I believe it said equals 3. So going back and forth real fast, the things in the red box became these two equations.
Okay.
Now solve these. And how you solve them depends upon the types of equations there are. These are both quadratic equations. So now we're going to do more quadratic equation stuff, like moving the 8 to the left so we can get it equal to 0. Factoring this, do you know what x squared plus 2x minus 8 factors into?
4 and 2.
Some version of 4 and 2. I need pluses and minuses.
The -4 and positive 2.
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
Maybe I'm let's see, wait a minute. And positive. Yeah. No.
They're
Positive 4, -2.
You are
Well,
correct.
yeah, +4, -2.
Right, they were backwards. There's a real easy way to decide who's positive and who's negative. I don't know if you watch any of the factoring review videos, but
Yes, I did.
this tells you what the larger number has to be. And so the larger number has to be positive.
Right. Okay.
And let's see. This tells you whether the signs are the same or opposite.
Right.
So they're opposite. So the larger is positive, and then they have to be opposite.
Okay.
So the signs can actually take care of themselves if you analyze it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we solved this, and I'll be honest, you can just skip right to x equals -4 and
Right.
x equals 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then over here, we do the same thing. X squared plus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Open up the parentheses. This factors in x plus 3 and x minus 1. Then you would get x equals -3 and x equals 1. And that would be the end because the question was, what is x equals? And now x equals all that.
Okay, so that would be my solution.
Yes,
And
but
put -4.
yeah, I mean, you would type -4, 2, -3, 1.
Uh-huh.
But the main reason I wanted to go through this one is how it began way back at the beginning. You could clearly see that the parentheses showed up twice.
Right.
But in
Okay.
number 9, let's go back to number 9 for a second. 1 second, I'm adjusting some things on my screen. Number 9. Where's your homework? Here it is. But if we go back to number 9, it's cleaner and doesn't have big chunky pieces, but it was the big chunky pieces in this one that set it off. So the question now becomes, can we look at number 9 in a way that we see something repeated?
Okay.
Like the x squared plus 2x was repeated here. It's a trick. If you have one power twice the other, you can make this happen.
Okay.
In this case, the power of 4 is twice the power of 2.
Is twice.
Right. And the reason that's useful is, let me get the equation set up. This is number 9. It was x to the 4th minus 122x
The second.
to the second, thank you, plus 121 is equal to 0. All right, so I'm going to type something here.
Okay.
If one power is twice the other,
Right.
you can rewrite the larger power as the square of the smaller power. So in other words, because 4 is twice 2,
right,
I can write the x to the 4th as x squared squared.
Okay. Gotcha.
And what that does is it exposes 2 matching parts.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then you would finish it. So I'm just going to wrap this one up by saying, let u equal x squared and proceed as before. So it basically ends up doing the same thing we did before. We get a quadratic equation, we solve it, but after we solve it and take out the u, in this problem, instead of changing it to all this, we would just change it to x squared.
So I'm gonna change the x to square. The x2 is gonna be a u, not the 2.
Correct.
Okay.
So this 2
So I'm
here,
gonna get that by, am I gonna,
you see the 2 I just highlighted in pink?
yes,
That's going to remain because it's not being highlighted. It's not undergoing the
right.
substitution. So the yellow and pink squares on the left will become a u squared. It's just like when we did this one back here and I asked you, you see all the stuff on the top equation that's not highlighted in yellow, it stays the same.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so all the stuff here that's not highlighted in yellow stays the
Stay the
same.
same.
Right.
So like the negative 121 plus the 121, the square minus the 122 plus the 121 equals 0.
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right.
so your equation would become u squared minus 122u plus 121 equals 0. And then you would just solve that. And I'm going to skip the steps, but if you solve that, you would get u equals, hold on. You would get u equals 121 and u equals 1. But then you would change the u back to x squared. and then solve it by using square roots,
Okay.
which means you would have to bring in the plus minus.
Oh, then I mean, the plus minus.
Right.
Okay.
And the square root of 121 is 11.
It's 11.
So that's why you got those 4 answers.
Okay. 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 All right. Well, I will go back and review that again.
Okay.
And the other one that I had a really hard time with was the double radicals.
Yes. Which are in the same assignment.
Right. And I mean, yeah. She explained it. I think it's when you have to factor the two binomial radicals, I guess, that I
Yeah.
was getting very yeah. Mm-hmm.
You won't
Mm-hmm.
have one. You won't have one like that on your test.
Oh, really?
I don't think
Mm.
so. I could go check,
Okay.
but I'm pretty
Okay.
confident you won't.
Okay.
It's just a lot of work. I think, was that the only one, or was there one like it?
I want to say there was another one. There was maybe that was the only one.
It's the
I
only
don't
one.
know.
You might have tried it
Yeah.
twice.
Oh, I tried it 5,000 times. I
Yeah,
don't even know how
so
many
there
times
was
I
only one on there. I mean,
Oh,
the reason I put that question in there is because it shows you that the algorithm that I laid out for solving this still works, which is
oh,
isolate the square root. Well, I've got
right,
2 of them, so I have to isolate one of them.
right.
Square
Okay.
both sides, and
Yes.
squaring both sides becomes tricky.
Yes.
Um, and then solve the remaining equation, but the remaining equation still has a square root, which means you got to start the process over again.
Over again. Right.
Right.
Right. And I
So,
got there. Once I got there, but it was getting stuck on that one little square,
yeah,
multiplying the whatever the
yeah,
two radicals.
it's
It,
hard. It's hard to square both sides of this equation, no matter where you move the pieces. So
yeah.
that's why it's tricky.
Okay. As far as I haven't even got, I haven't looked, I don't even know what's the last few questions are on there. Because I haven't gotten to them, obviously. And so I guess
What if I told you that they were the easiest questions on the assignment?
I would probably cry happy tears.
Okay, so when you get to the end, you'll be like, well, that ended easily.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Right.
If that didn't,
You'll see when you get there. But
okay.
10, 11, 12, and 13 are by far the easiest questions on this assignment.
Okay, and then when I'm going to 1.7,
Mm-hmm.
I need a heads up. It gets even harder.
1.7. Well, let me just show you real quick. It's gonna do stop a screen share because I got rid of that. So let me go into here and open your 1.7. And then I mean I'll just show you real quick.
Okay.
Well, actually, I can't preview it because you haven't started it yet, but
No.
I can go in as a student and open it. So I'm doing that, and then I'm going to screen share it so that you can see it. Here we go. The first part of it is just some notation issues. So there's not really things that you're calculating. It's just knowing what these things mean, and they're not that difficult. Once you see what they mean, it's like, well, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
The first place where you actually start solving things is something like this.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
And just looking at that, it's pretty easy to solve. But where this is different is it says greater than,
Yes.
which means when
Mhm.
you get to the end, there's a couple of different ways to represent your solution.
Okay.
Um, it does take a slight bump in difficulty when you get to, let me find it. You'll notice none of these are quadratic.
Right.
There's this bunch of stuff you got to move around.
Uh-huh.
But when you get to, that one's not that bad. It's different, but it's easy.
Uh-huh.
As is that one. And then you start getting to the ones with the absolute values. But even they're not that bad because they have a very straightforward setup.
Okay.
This section involves no quadratic equations. no
Lovely.
no factoring,
Oh, wow.
no square roots.
And no
So
exponents?
no.
Okay.
So all the things that made the previous sections more difficult are not in this one.
Okay, well, that's all I'm gonna worry about right now. And I need to have all of 1.6 and 1.7 homework is due Sunday, right?
Correct. I went ahead and moved all the homework due dates for this week to Sunday.
Okay, but the test on this is due when?
Let's go into Canvas real quick. And I'm going to click on the course syllabus because that's where all the due dates are.
Okay.
So here's how the next, the test for this is not due until a week from Sunday,
Okay.
but I wouldn't wait that long.
Well, I won't, but
So here's the first week, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, and 2, 1.
uh-huh.
Then next week, there's one more section
Mm-hmm.
that will be covered on the first
Okay.
test.
Okay.
So if you stick by the due dates, the assignment on Monday is due on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The minute you finish this assignment, you should prepare to take the test,
Yeah.
but you have until Sunday to get the test done.
Okay.
The reason you should knock it out as soon as possible is because the homework assignments will keep coming.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you don't want to do more homework prior to
No.
prior to having taken the first test. So once you finish this assignment, you need to think, all right, I need to find myself a 3-hour window to sit down and take my test. You don't have to use 3 hours, but you can. And
Okay.
I just got a notification on my phone that it is time for my 2 o'clock meeting.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to wrap this up, but I'm gonna everything we're recording, everything we just did is gonna be put in a video onto YouTube, and then I'll just send the link to it.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
No problem, Becky. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.